So let's take a look at the layout and connections of the MMP1. Here's the front panel of the MMP1. It's fairly straight ahead. We have some scene recall buttons and then some status indicators as far as the sample rate, what the clock is set to, and how the Dante system is working when you're using the Dante ports. On the rear of the unit are the I/O connections and some dip switches for setting various preferences for the hardware unit. There are 16 channels of AES digital in and out with SRC on every channel in pairs. There are 8 channels of analog in and out. Mastering grade A to D, D to A converters. They sound wonderful. Then we've got the Dante connection. And with Dante, we have 64 channels of I/O, both in and out on the Dante port. And then finally, the GPI ports, both input and output. And these are useful for creating custom applications like recording status lights, creating a cough mute switch, things that are more customized depending on the application. Moving on to the MMP software, here we have the main page of the editor. And this is where you can control the speaker levels, switch speaker sets, choose your monitor source that you're listening to, also make adjustments to the Q mixer, depending on what you're doing. On the selected channel tab, you can make adjustments to the Q mixer and the various settings and processing for each of the channel strips, the 8 channel strips in the MMP1. Next, we have the sub page, and here you can make adjustments to the monitor source trims, Q output trims, and studio speaker output trims. There are various other settings here, the snapshot area, the oscillator, various talkback destinations that might be programmed in. Then on the next tab, we have the monitor matrix. And here we get to see which monitor source is selected and routed to which output of the MMP1. For example, right now we have the Nuendo 5.1 output, which is routed to the main monitor path, the 5.1 path. Then we have the 2 Q sources going to Q1 and Q2, and also studio speaker 1 and 2. Then the next tab is the speaker matrix. The speaker matrix, if we had more than one speaker system configured, we would see all the various speaker systems here and which outputs they're going to. And if they have any filters applied to them for bass management or LFE management, that sort of thing. The next tab is the speaker management tab. And here, this is where you have access to the tuning DSP in the MMP1, where you can adjust the trim levels, the delay of each speaker channel in case you're trying to time align a multi-channel, multi-speaker system. You can also adjust the 6 bands of EQ for every speaker channel in case you're making room EQ correction changes to the speaker system. That's where you access all of that. Here on the patch page, you can actually patch inputs directly to outputs of the MMP1. Depending on the application, there could be a multitude of uses for this. For example, you could use the SRC on the AES inputs and convert different sample rates into Dante channels, for example. And it's just a direct patch. It has nothing to do with the speaker matrix or the monitor processing. It's just a direct patch through the unit. On the settings page, we access a lot of different information here. We have 3 top pages here, scene, global, and editor. In the scene page, there are many sub-pages to access various settings for all the different parts of the MMP1. Then even on the global, we have several sub-tabs there. So just to know that there's a lot going on in the settings tab, and we'll get to that in other videos. Finally, we have the information page, which shows us the firmware version and gives us the ability to update the firmware if we need to. So back on the main page is where we actually operate the MMP1, the speaker level, the monitor source, and those sorts of settings. That's the basic layout of everything, just to familiarize yourself with the various tabs in the editor and what they're all used for, and of course the front panel and the rear panel connections.